Hi everyone, I'm Awful here. I finally got some time to present you with my Magicka Templar, my Conqueror build. I've called it a Conqueror because of just its flexibility, just its ability to survive and deal damage in all sorts of circumstances, especially in open world and group PvP. This is my best build for fighting in Cyrodiil. And for various reasons. I mean, for starters, Magicka Templars, to me, that's the best class when it comes to Cyrodiil PvP. For one, it's got great self-healing abilities, of course, but really the reason why I love this class so much when it comes to fighting in Cyrodiil, its ability to cleanse itself and purge itself from harmful effects, things that maybe dots that can get applied to you by siege weapons or other player skills like talons and poisons and all sorts of stuff. You just cleanse yourself at the click of a button, and it's just amazing. So yeah, whenever it comes to Cyrodiil, in particular, whether it be solo play or group play, I always resort to my Conqueror build. It's just amazing, it's just fantastic. And I know that in a couple of months things are going to change in terms of CP, and I think that despite that, this build is still going to be very much viable then. But anyway, without any further ado, I'll give you my Conqueror build. Let's get started by my stats. Okay, this is unbuffed. This is my defensive bar, and my front bar looks like this. Okay, so almost 32k Magicka, over 25k health and 10k max stamina. Look at that, my Magicka recovery. I'm wearing 5 full heavy armor pieces, sorry, 7 heavy armor pieces of full heavy, and yeah, I almost hit 2k Magicka recovery, and a spell damage of over 3k. Now my stats on my back bar, once I'm fully buffed, they look like this. My spell resistance 30k, my physical resistance 28k. Now crit resistance, it says it's only 1200, but there's a little trick that you could do to pump it up, and there you go, now it goes up to 2500, and that's because of one of the sets that I'm wearing, which is transmutation, but I'll get to that one in a minute. As consumables, I use Witch Mother Sporting Brew because it gives me max health, max Magicka and Magicka regeneration. I strongly encourage you to be a vampire, particularly for mist form. I'll get to that in a moment. My Mundustone is the Ortronak for Magicka recovery. Now you will notice that I've got major sorcery on at all times, and that's because of the other set that I'm wearing, which is 5-piece rattle cage. But before I actually move on to my equipment, let me just show you the drinks, sorry, the potions that I use. I obviously use Tri-Stats, and I use Essence of Invisibility, the type that gives you a major expedition. I only use this in very tough situations when I know I cannot survive that Zerg in front of me. I just pop one of these and disappear, and yeah, it saved my life quite a few times. But really I want to show you these ones, the Essence of Immovability that I use. It gives you immunity to knockback and disabling effects, but also it gives me stealth detection by 20 meters. Now I don't have any skills on me to reveal Nightblade, so whenever I'm standing in front of a Nightblade that starts cloaking, I pop one of these, I become immune to knockback and disabling effects. I see them for 15 seconds, which is long enough for me to kill them. I restore magicka, and I also increase by 20% my magicka recovery for almost 50 seconds. These potions are absolutely brilliant for this build, in fact I would say for any magicka build. It's just crazy. They're really good. Right, anyway, let's move on to my equipment. Right, I've got two swords of Torug's Pact on my front bar. They're both sharpened, and they grant me a nice spell damage bonus, 129 extra spell damage. You want to golden them up, right? If you need to gold something up, always start with your weapons and then move on to your armor. My back bar, I've got two pieces of transmutation. I've got a defending sword and a defending shield. Now the reason why they're on my back bar is because the jewelry is also transmutation. Now transmutation, I'm pretty sure it's a set that is going to become viable. Not that it wasn't viable in this meta, but it's going to be used a lot more in the next one, because it grants 2 magicka recovery bonus, spell critical, and also it says the 5th bonus: when you heal a target with a healing over time ability, grant them 1260 critical resistance for 20 seconds. Actually, there is a trick to proc it on yourself, even though you're playing on your own. What you want to do is to put either a health glyph or a prismatic glyph like this one on your shield, so that there is a small health margin between your front bar and your back bar where you have transmutation. So you notice I've got 25.3k on my front bar and about 25.9k on my back bar. Then what you want to do, you want to move to your front bar, then quickly switch to your back bar and immediately cast a heal over time skill on yourself. But you've got to be really quick so that you can heal yourself of even a tiny bit and proc your transmutation. So something like this. Tack. Now you see all them blue streaks, that's the transmutation set kicking off. So that's what you want to do. And then we've got Rattle Cage. Rattle Cage provides us with really good things. It starts off with max health bonus, which is fairly good for survivability. Then gives us quite a bit of spell damage, but really the nicest thing is that you gain major sorcery at all times. This means that I don't have to slot degeneration on my back bar, and I can free it up for something else, for something that is much more useful. And then for my Adonte set, I've got Vulcan Scoria. Now you could swap this for anything else. You could use Grothdar, you could use Engine Guardian, you can use whatever you want, but I just love Scoria. I always go back to it, because even though the damage doesn't proc anymore in sense of critical damage, it still does quite a fair bit of it. So yeah, great set for me. And because it cannot be dodged, and it gives a sound before the meteor actually strikes, you can actually time it with your ultimate, bursting people down. Again, really great set. Now my advice is to get all your pieces in impenetrable. Unfortunately my RNG is rubbish, and the best I've got is a training head when it comes to Scoria, and I think I've got infused pauldrons, which is not the best, but hey, fair enough. When I get my PvE desire going, you know, I'll go and farm something, or just wait for them to spawn up the golden vendor and get them like that. Anyway, moving on to my skills. Now front bar, I've got Vampire's Bane. Now this one, other than a very nice dot, which can proc Scoria by the way, gives me Major Prophecy that increases my spell critical rating by over 2k. Now you could use a Radiant Mage Light here instead. You could use it to reveal Nightblade as well, but Radiant Mage Light doesn't do any damage at all, so I prefer this one. And when it comes to detecting stealthed opponents, I would rather use my potions. Then I've got Radiant Oppression. You can use the other morph that heals you for a little bit if you want, but so far so good. I've not had many issues with this morph. Then I'm going back to Radiant Aura in a minute. Then I've got, as a spammable DPS, I've got Puncturing Sweep, and then I have a Toppling Charge. This is all fairly standard. Toppling Charge is my gap closer. Then for ultimate, I normally use Ice Comet, but I keep switching in between Ice Comet and Dawnbreaker of Smiting. The damage, if you consider both the initial damage and the dot, when it comes to Dawnbreaker, is actually higher. Even though it's a stamina skill, it is higher than Ice Comet. And not only that, it stuns, knocks down everyone in front of you. It cannot be blocked, and I'm pretty sure it cannot be dodged either. So it's a great alternative, especially when you're 1vxing and you want to stun everyone at the same time. And because it procs much faster than Ice Comet, it works better when you try and time it with Scoria. When you hear Scoria coming down, you just hit your Dawnbreaker or Smiting, and you can really nuke people down. Then let me go back to Radiant Aura. Now Radiant Aura is for your Magicka sustain. Not only does it increase your health, stamina and Magicka recovery by 10% while it's slotted, so my front bar I always have higher recovery, but really what it does is it applies minor Magicka steal to all enemies around you for 18 seconds, causing you and your allies, so it's a very selfless ability, to restore 400 Magicka every second when damaging them. Now this means that if I apply this to one enemy in front of me, be it player, be it monster, it doesn't really matter, it grants me a bonus of 400 Magicka every second, which means 800 Magicka recovery, and this is for only one target. Alright, so what you want to do is to cast this skill like this when you're surrounded by enemies. Okay, its range, I think it's 28 meters. Yeah, 28 meters, which is insane. So you hit anyone within this radius of 28 meters, they're gonna be affected with minor Magicka steal. Now, in order for minor Magicka steal to actually give you Magicka back, you need to make sure that they take damage, and this is where my back bar comes in, right? Ritual of Retribution. This one creates a circle around you. Okay, it's 12 meters only. Okay, so let me put it down and let me buff up again. Okay, it's 12 meters only, so you can see that little circle going around you, all those sparkly things. Now anything within that circle is going to take damage. This means that if you're surrounded by, I don't know, 5 enemies, you pop this, you apply Magicka steal on them, and then you constantly damage with this. Now that means that for every enemy that has been affected by your Magicka steal, you're gonna be getting back 800 magicka every 2 seconds, or 400 magicka every second per enemy that is affected by this. Now, this build works so well when under pressure, especially in 1vx situation. Not only is it super survivable, but the more enemies you have on you, the greater your magicka returns, the greater your sustain. So I just cannot emphasize how good this skill, Radiant Aura, is when coupled with this other skill, Ritual of Retribution. But it's important that you take this morph, because this is the only morph that does damage as well. The light also burns enemies with Holy Vengeance, dealing 1500 magic damage every 2 seconds for 12 seconds. And obviously allies can also purify themselves through the synergy, so this is massively important. Then we've got Elusive Mist. Now, Elusive Mist is just an incredible skill. Now, when it comes to mobility, Magicka Templars, well, Templars in general, they don't have much mobility. We're not like stamina sorcerers, or sorcerers in general for that matter of, or Nightblades. We don't have great mobility. So Elusive Mist enables us to move at a greater speed while receiving a 70% damage mitigation, which is incredible. If you're under pressure, you just pop one of these, you look for line of sight, then you purge yourself, you give yourself a little heal, and then you find yourself a nice little corner where you can have everyone lined up right nice in front of you, and then you can spam your biting jabs, which by the way heal you when you do damage as well. Another thing about Templars that is just great for open world and solo PvP. Then moving on, Honor the Dead. Obviously, this is the selfish version of Breath of Life, which is yeah, massive self heal. Aurora Javelin. This is your main stun ability, and you can stun with toppling charge. But sometimes they're just too close for you to do that. So yeah, Aurora Javelin, I use that for stunning. You can have it on your front bar. I prefer it to have it on my back bar, so that if I'm trying to heal and I've got people on me, I can just push them away with this one and heal myself with Honor the Dead. It's also nice. It not only deals 40% additional damage depending on the distance that the spear travels, but yeah, it knocks the enemies back 5 meters. This is great when there's people standing on walls and you're attacking those walls. You just knock them down the walls, and your team takes them out. It's it's actually quite a nice skill. It's not as good as what I used to do, what I used to use, which was spear shards when they used to stun, but still it's a nice little skill. And then we've got Restoring Focus. You can take the other morph as well. I prefer this one because it basically gives me a major ward. It makes me so tanky. It offers also minor vitality and minor protection, and increase my healing received, and reduces my damage taken by 8%. And then finally I've got Devouring Swarm. I only pop this one when I'm in trouble. If I'm surrounded by just too many enemies, and then, especially if I'm in a group and I want to attack all the fire on me, I just jump in there in the middle, pop Devouring Swarm, that not only deals damage but heals me for 3,300 health for each enemy that I damage. So the more they are, again, the more I heal. This is a build that just thrives on the pressure, and I always go back to this one. It's my favorite build when it comes to open world PvP and also solo PvP. Now let's quickly move on to my champion points. These are gonna change in a couple of months, and I'm probably gonna come up with an updated version of the build if I feel I need to adjust it, which I think, but not majorly. But anyway, let me go quickly through them. I've got 72 points into a magician, got 91 into Aconist, then I've got 37 into tumbling. You want to make sure you break free without running out of stamina. Then I've got 100 into elemental expert, a little bit into blessed to pump my healing done, and consequently received 10 into elf bone and 28 into spell erosion. Then I've got 53 into thaumaturgy, because most of my skills, most of my DPS is classed as damage over time anyway. Then I've got 100 points into hardy, 74 into elemental defender, and 26 into quick recovery. So there you have it, my Cyrodiil monster, my Conqueror. In the hype trailer that I've posted, I was using a slightly different version. I used to have Engine Guardian as my monster set, and instead of Radiant Aura, I used Purifying Light, but I felt I was never quite as bursty as I wanted to be, and that's why I switched things around the way that I have. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you've got any questions, just let me know in the comments below. Leave us a like and a subscribe if you want to get more of these videos. So thank you, and I'll see you around. Bye.